Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the telling of the adventures of young Kalam with me, Stuti. We've so far been on one adventure with Kalam where we find out that there's this teacher who's wrongfully grading and failing one of Kalam's friend Bali on purpose, and we see that the two boys go to correct this wrong. And we leave the chapter at Kalam saying that he's going to see Bali for a sleepover. So, chapter 3, let's see what the sleepover is about and what the boys are up to. Kalam ran out into the back lawn of Bali's palatial house and to their play hut, the door to which was locked from the inside. He knocked. What is India's first railway and when was it built? Whispered Ram, the third of the trio of best friends. Entry into the hut was allowed by answering a question. Each week, the boys changed the question to something new they had learned. The previous week, Kalam had learned about the Red Hill Railroad in Madras, India's first ever railway. Kalam shook his head. Those are two questions. But anyway, the Red Hill Railroad or Railway, and it was built in 1836 and opened in 1837. The door creaked open. Light streaming in from a tiny window lit their cramped mud hut. A huge cupboard that refused to shut stood on one side and an old trunk beside it. Strange charts hung on the opposite wall, filled with workings that could only be understood by the three friends. A complicated looking board game was spread out in the center of the floor, two stacks of cards arranged neatly by its side. Bali sat on the other side, munching on Punakai's biscuits. Kalam bolted the door behind him. You won the last time, Abu, so you draw first, said Kalam, diving right into the game. Remember, we've already split a rook, bishop, knight, and 4 pawns each. We're only drawing for a king or a queen. Kalam nodded, reaching into the black bag that Ram held open. Drawing out a queen, he smiled. No one was as powerful as the queen in the game of chess. I see we all have our money. I'll take the blue car, he said, his eyes darting across the board, thinking strategy. Let the game begin, clapped Bali. Kolavan was a game the three had invented and named. With chessboard glued to the center of the landlord's game, also known as Monopoly, the aim of the game was to be the last one alive on the chessboard. Kalam had fixed cardboard killers on the chessboard and electrically engineered them to move around. The object was to play by chess rules and escape being killed by these murderers until there was only one chess player left standing. It sounded simple enough, except every move on the chessboard cost $100, which you played for along in the landlord's game or Monopoly. Can you see all three boys playing? So that's the board game, as you can see. And that's Bali, and that's Ram. You can't see him clearly, so I'll show you here. That's Ram, that's Bali, and that's Punakai. We met her in chapter 2. Him we're yet to meet, right? Okay. It had been 2 weeks since the boys invented the game, and they hadn't grown tired of it yet. A knock interrupted the game. Lunchtime, boys, said Gilheri, the house cook. They had been playing for hours and were nowhere near the end. But these weekend meals at Bali's were a feast for Kalam and Ram, so the two quickly jumped up. Oh, the sight that greeted them as they entered the kitchen. Soft, fluffy idlis lined one end of the long plate. Keema vadas, fresh out of the frying pan, sat on the other. A pot of warm paya was kept on the side for a nice dunk. There was creamy orange chicken curry, sparkling with ghee, succulent fried crab cooked in Mr. Murugan's secret spice mix. Mr. Murugan is Bali's father. Spicy cuttlefish curry, and the famous lamb in tamarind curry, all served with piles of parota and heaps of fresh steamed rice. Kalam and Ram drooled over the aroma of the banquet. Bali looked calm. Gilary bought a final jug full of cold buttermilk and signaled the boys to sit. The three plonked themselves on the floor and began dishing the food on their banana leaf plates. A minute later, the banana leaves were heaped, Kalams and Rams a lot more than Bali. They gobbled up the food, slurping the soup and the curries, licking their hands all the way to the elbow. Almost in a flash, the food disappeared, and the smiles on the boys' faces were big and broad. Come on, said Bali. Now that he had been fed, he was determined to get back to the game. The other two stood up slowly, their stomachs full, but their minds already dreaming of second helpings. They thanked Larry for the meal and followed Bali to the hand pump in the back lawn. Their hands may have been licked clean, but their tongues could not reach the cheeks that had curry all over them. So that's chapter 3, and I'll see you again for chapter 4. Bye.